And because Monday is a day to talk about innovation, you're used to seeing roofing material made of metal and steel or clay used to make roofing tiles. Let's switch it up a little. The pavements you walk on are normally made of cement. Well, that's changing fast as an alternative environmental and sensitive and cheaper materials are being made from, get this, plastic wastes. So how exactly is it done? Here is this week's episode of The Innovator. Meet Dr. Oscar Agan. He is the brains behind Green Pavers, developers of roofing material, fencing poles and pavers, which are also known as Cabro. The public health professional saw a gap in how plastic waste was being handled in the country and created solutions.
The way back in 2000, when I was a consultant trying to establish a number of how much plastic goes into the Ladora dump site. Now, after doing that, you see, as a scientist, I got a bit curious on exactly what goes on in Dandora. And then the idea of the biodegradation and the gas that is produced when biodegradation takes place, the methane gas, I thought widely could be turned into some energy form to drive industry. Because at that time, I remember that Kenya Power was a real nuisance. There was blackout day and night. There was little they could do. And for us who were out here in the field, were looking, could there be an alternative? So I wildly thought that I could generate power from waste. An idea that took long because it was too expensive. But I started off with something on the side, and that is where plastic came in.
And just like that, the journey of creativity for social good began. So how exactly does he make all this?
As you can see, the roofing tile is a resin. And as a resin, it means it's an inorganic mixture. There's plastic in it, there is sand in it, and there are other additives that make it a resin, which are IP protected. But you first need to gather your waste plastic. Then that plastic has to have some, it's got to be adhesive. It's got to have some stickiness. Because not all, there are different types of plastic with different properties. Then if it is HDPE or high density polyethylene, then it is adhesive. Then you add that, you crush it into smaller particles. Then once you crush it into smaller particles, then you mix it with whatever additive you want to add to it. There are colorants, there are UV stabilizers, and there are many other things that make it look like what it is. So it takes a bit of some chemistry knowledge. After you've mixed it, then you extrude it. Not in an ordinary extruder like what I use here. We have what you call a screw-fed extruder. It's an extruder that is specifically made to address or to make the resin. Now the resin comes out like something like chapati. That is poured into a mold and pressed to get the product that you want. In a short, that is what it takes. It calls for a lot of knowledge on how to handle plastic. There are different other plastics that do not. They don't gel. Then they also behave differently under different temperatures.
With this innovation, Dr. Agan, who also teaches at a tertiary institution, insists can assist the country in addressing pertinent issues in environmental conservation.
Most of them are ranging from roofing tiles, ranging from food, touching on cement, touching on sewer. And they are innovations because a world without innovation is a dead world. So it is an interesting journey because as an innovator, I've seen a lot of lives being transformed. It brings in a certain aspect in life that hardly existed. Today, the innovation addresses housing. The innovation addresses waste management. The innovation addresses deforestation. We are at 5.5% forest cover. The minimum required by the UN is 10%.
And all this have not come easy. He intimated that for Kenya to achieve more innovations, there's need to streamline copyright, trademark and patenting laws to secure innovations.
There's only basically one body that patents, and it was painfully long, Kenya Industrial Property Institute. But today, I think out of feedback they get from the public, it takes a lot shorter. But for us who did it during those days, it was painfully long. It's an expensive process ordinarily. It's expensive in the sense that you require a lot of money to do this. Any young entrepreneur coming up will tell me, like, capital is a challenge. And I tell them that really it's not the real challenge, it's the brain that is the challenge. One demon that this government has to deal with, and I'm talking about the government of Kenya, is the cost of electricity